Hi everyone, welcome back to the Bamboo Farm. It is Wednesday, October 14th, 2020, and this is the latest What's Going On. First things we have, since our last update, we have plants now that are taller than I am, which is awesome. Check it out. So, although not every plant has made it to this height milestone, the rest will that have not made it, we know will follow in the footsteps of some of our higher performers, and they will make it soon in the future. But that's just kind of an awesome thing when we put the plants in the ground as small and skinny as they were, and now just about 6 months later they are taller than I am and starting to get a little bit of width to them. So very exciting there. In looking back at the rest of August, where our update left off, and September, September was an absolutely fantastic month for growth. We had very steady rains that were not in super excess, but were enough in a rhythm that we really did not have to do a whole lot of irrigation in September. And as we talked about before, the plants love rainwater, and the irrigation water is more of survival. And throughout the summer, it's been a little bit tougher because there has been more irrigation through June, July, May, June, July, even some of August. And September was just a beautiful month for just constant rainwater. And we had the rest of our fertilizer that we put down was wearing off towards in September, this September-October kind of transition. So we put down some new fertilizer on September 30th. And instead of kind of talking about what it is, I decided I have the labels here with me, and I'll just show you what we put out, and just the minerals and elements and nutrients that we're using for the plants versus just trying to talk about it. So the first thing we did was this 12-4-12 mixture, and this is 12% nitrogen with ammoniacal, urea, and water insoluble, potassium, phosphate potassium, and then it has some micronutrients such as magnesium, sulfur, manganese, copper, iron, zinc, and boron. And this 12-4-12 we put out at half a pound per plant. The next one we did was a 0022 fertilizer, which is 22% potassium, and then there is magnesium and sulfur in there. And this was also the first one, the 12-4-12, and this one, 0022, are granular fertilizers. So it's a dry, we basically have a cup that we have measured out how much weight we want to put out per plant and put a marking on it, and then just walk around and toss it on the plant. So toss it at the base of the plant. So this one is what is known as a Kmag fertilizer. It's sort of a generic term that's made by all kinds of different fertilizer manufacturers. Make some type of combination, a Kmag combination, and K meaning potassium and mag is magnesium. And then we have not done this yet, and I'll explain why in a second, but we are going to this week, probably by the weekend, put out this 15.500, which is 15.5% nitrogen and 19% calcium. And this is what is known as calnite, a calnite, and cal meaning calcium, nitrogen, and nite meaning nitrogen. This calnite is a granular, comes in 50-pound bags as granulars, but they dissolve in water, or they become soluble in water, and it is actually put out through the irrigation system. So it is, although it comes in bags and is dry, it's really a liquid fertilizer. And these two, the 12412 and the 0022, the Kmag, are 90-day release. I don't know if I mentioned the Kmag 0022 we put out at a quarter pound per plant. So a quarter pound for the Kmag, and then half a pound for the 12412 per plant. And then this Calnite, we're doing 100 pounds to the acre. So the liquid fertilizer, the 15.500, is not a 90-day release. Generally, liquid fertilizers release in about 1 to 2 weeks. It could be more, but generally, once it comes out, it's instantaneously released, all those nutrients, and it's also absorbed by the plant quickly as well. So it's kind of just a quick boost of taking care of nitrogen, obviously at 15.5%, and then calcium at 19%. So the reason why we haven't done that is because we have not had to run the irrigation out here pretty much since October 1st or September 30th. So on October 1st, the day after we did the granular fertilizer, we started to get rain, and it was just deep atmospheric moisture for several days, and we ended up getting 9.5 inches of rain out here in a period of about 5 days. So definitely probably the most rain we have seen out here in just one long sort of period like that. And there really wasn't a particular reason why, like in terms of, there was no tropical storm, there was no hurricane, anything like that. It was just happened to be the way that we had a stationary front and just deep moisture persisting in our area. So kind of an unusual event, but regardless, I would say that these plants really did like that rain overall. Some of the smaller ones in areas that are a little bit lower, where the ground just kind of sunk in, those plants are a little bit more stressed out, and will recover, but majority of the plants really took that rain and loved it. And we're only just now getting into watering again, as it's now been a few days since that rain has stopped, and we're starting to get the water going. We're going to hold off on doing any more of this fertilizer type of activity, particularly this liquid that's left, just due to letting the plants just kind of gather themselves after the event like that. It's not always that we see stresses or what's going on really with the plant, especially down in the root system after an event such as that. Could be a high wind event, a high rain event, just something that is stressful, right? We want to give the plants a chance to give the plants a chance to just sort of recover and recoup and get back to what they were doing. So yeah, that's why it'll probably be this weekend approximately when we put out the rest of this. So that's it for the fertilizer here. The granular stuff will put us 90 days. It's basically January 1. At that point, we are going to do one of two things. Either one, we'll put down like a 30-day or 60-day release fertilizer to get us over to March 1st, or we are going to just let the plants be a little bit dormant in that last winter period of January to March, and then in March we'll come out strong with probably some higher nitrogen, just solid granular fertilizer. So among this, we do continue to run the liquid fertilizer that contains the microbes that we talked about it on the last update. We are just sort of intermixing that in there, and it has a little bit of nitrogen and potassium in there. So that is the fertilizer story. We expect this to kind of make the plants jump a little bit, which is what we want. Ideally, we are trying to extend the growing season as far out into the winter as we can, obviously without compromising the health of the plants. But that is what we're doing here. All right. In terms of any other notable mentions, things that have happened in the last few months, nothing really in particular. As I mentioned, September was a great month. We didn't have to do a whole lot of irrigation. We're just mowing and trying to handle these weeds as best we can. I will talk about now the plastic. The plastic is going to be coming up here. If not by the December update, then soon, somewhere in that time period, December, February, November time, this kind of winter period. We'll be taking the plastic up, and either we'll put hay down, like cow hay with no seeds in it, and just use that as sort of our barrier against the weeds, or we'll just have to have some kind of maintenance going where we pick up the poly, move everything out of the way, run a mower in and out, and then put it all back. So, well, we're kind of familiar with that routine from our other plants at the lot next door here. So we're doing that, and also we're testing out the hay right now. So it's a little bit too early to tell if that's going to be a worthwhile event for our particular situation here, but we will know in the next month or two whether that's what we're going to do when the plastic goes. So I will show you here just what they look like. As you can see, I'll show. The weed pressure is definitely there with the plastic. It's actually growing these grasses, really is what it is. It's not even so much as a weed as it is a grass. It's growing up and around and also through the plastic. And generally, just due to the plastic has pros and cons, right? As every decision and thing that happens, there's pros and cons. And one of the pros to the plastic was that it was going to control some of these weeds and grasses a little bit better. Our expectations were that I was going to do a little bit better, and unfortunately, the reality is, as you can see, that it's still not holding back and doing as good of a job as we would have liked. So ideally, back when we first planted and those what you saw there with how it's just a nice beautiful row of plastic with a mulch on top, ideally it would still look like that even right now, and we would just be able to see all the emitters and the poly and everything else. So that is not the case. And one of the cons to the plastic, and this is why, if we're not receiving the pro benefits, the pros, then we might as well, then basically what we have is just the cons. And the cons to the plastic is that it doesn't allow water and nutrients to be available to the plant outside of where the plant has penetrated through the plastic. So if you could just picture the plastic, being tight around the root ball and everything else, which is what we wanted for weed protection, it only allows rains and irrigation water and even fertilizer that has to be placed right on that hole, like right on the clump. And that does not allow the plant to spread its wings, or I should say that does not encourage the plant to spread its wings and try to go after nutrients, go after water, the roots to expand and try to find those nutrients and water that it needs. It'll just kind of sit in its hole, and water and fertilizer and everything is just kind of being dumped on it and sort of spoon fed. And that's not a terrible thing, but it's also now competing with weeds and grasses. And in this situation, as I mentioned, if we're not receiving the full benefits on the pro side of the plastic, then we are still receiving kind of the cons, then it really just doesn't make sense to continue that with that. So alrighty, that is the plastic. The last thing I'll say is just about the plants in general. So it is awesome, fantastic that we have plants like this. That are well over 6 feet tall, probably coming up on 7 feet tall. They've got a little bit of branching going on. Check out the branching right here. So that is awesome. And as far as the general plants are concerned, just the overall, you know, taking the highs and the lows and averaging it all out, we do want to be a little bit farther ahead in the growth than where we are today. And so that is why we're doing this fertilizer regime, as I mentioned, to try to extend the growing season as far as we can. That's why the plastic is going to come up to, we are going to have some aggressive grasses, very aggressive grasses and weeds that come when the plastic is not here, because I will say it is holding that back, or appears to be. But the plants are going to be able to just really breathe, and we're going to be able to do the fertilizer in a circle around the plants and encourage them to go get those nutrients. We're going to change out the emitters from the little 90-degree things that just sort of spray in one direction to 360, which just, the 360s just throw water everywhere. And again, it just encourages the plant to go out and get it and just be strong. And the last thing we're going to do is replant. As I think I mentioned in the August update, we've got just some scattered areas that have had a little bit weaker plants or received a little bit more stress just due to the environmental conditions. We're going to replant those here over the fall, winter time. They will have, you know, a good 6 months at least to be in the ground and be strong. And then when the spring, summer comes next year, they'll be ready to go and to handle the stresses and everything that comes with this environment. So that is the plan moving forward. I will keep you updated as we go along. We'll expect the next update will be in December. Yeah, I mean, if anything happens in between that's big, I'll let you know. I do want to put out a written or more formal update, just on as I'll send it out as an email, and we'll just keep track of things that way as well. And that's all I have for now. So thanks everyone for watching the video. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, I will see you on the next one. Thank you.